Failure to comply with navigation rules is a factor in half the boating incidents. Will you know how to react when the time comes?
Rule 1.
A giveway vessel takes early and decisive action to keep out of the way of other vessels by stopping, slowing down, or changing course. A stand-on vessel maintains its course and speed unless it becomes apparent that the giveway vessel is not taking appropriate action.
Rule 1. Application. These rules apply to all vessels upon the inland waters of the United States and to vessels of the United States on the Canadian waters of the Great Lakes to the extent that there is no conflict with Canadian law.
Rule 2. Responsibility. Nothing in these rules shall exonerate any vessel or the owner, master, or crew thereof from the consequences of any neglect to comply with these rules or of the neglect of any precaution which may be required by the ordinary practice of seamen, or by the special circumstances of the case.
Following are animations that illustrate excerpted navigation rules. Stay tuned at the end for how to access a complete set of the Amalgamated International and U.S. Inland Navigation Rules, online at no charge.
Rule 5. Lookout. Every vessel shall at all times maintain a proper lookout, by sight and hearing, as well as by all available means appropriate, in the prevailing circumstances and conditions, so as to make a full appraisal of the situation and of the risk of collision.
Rule 6. Safe speed. Every vessel shall at all times proceed at a safe speed so that she can take proper and effective action to avoid collision and be stopped within a distance appropriate to the prevailing circumstances and conditions.
Rule 7. Risk of collision. Every vessel shall use all available means appropriate to the prevailing circumstances and conditions to determine if risk of collision exists. If there is any doubt, such risk shall be deemed to exist.
Rule 8. Action to avoid collision. Any action taken to avoid collision shall, if the circumstances of the case admit, be positive, made in ample time, and with due regard to the observance of good seamanship.
Rule 9. Narrow channels. A vessel proceeding along the course of a narrow channel or fairway shall keep as near to the outer limit of the channel or fairway, which lies on her starboard side, as is safe and practicable. A vessel of less than 20 meters in length, or a sailing vessel, shall not impede the passage of a vessel that can safely navigate only within a narrow channel or fairway. A vessel engaged in fishing shall not impede the passage of any other vessel navigating within a narrow channel or fairway.
Rule 13. Overtaking. Notwithstanding anything contained in Rules 4 through 18, any vessel overtaking any other shall keep out of the way of the vessel being overtaken.
Rule 14. Head-on situation. Unless otherwise agreed, when two power-driven vessels are meeting on reciprocal or nearly reciprocal courses so as to involve risk of collision, each shall alter her course to starboard, so that each shall pass on the port side of the other.
Rule 15. Crossing situation. When two power-driven vessels are crossing so as to involve risk of collision, the vessel which has the other on her starboard side shall keep out of the way and shall, if the circumstances of the case admit, avoid crossing ahead of the other vessel.
Rule 16. Action by giveway vessel. Every vessel which is directed to keep out of the way of another vessel shall, so far as possible, take early and substantial action to keep well clear.
Rule 17. Action by stand-on vessel. Where one or two vessels is to keep out of the way, the other shall keep her course and speed. The latter vessel may, however, take action to avoid collision by her maneuver alone as soon as it becomes apparent to her that the vessel required to keep out of the way is not taking appropriate action in compliance with these rules.
Rule 18. Responsibilities between vessels. Except where Rules 9, 10, and 13 otherwise require, a power-driven vessel under way shall keep out of the way of a vessel not under command, a vessel restricted in her ability to maneuver, a vessel engaged in fishing, and a sailing vessel. A sailing vessel under way shall keep out of the way of a vessel not under command, a vessel restricted in her ability to maneuver, and a vessel engaged in fishing. A vessel engaged in fishing when underway shall, so far as possible, keep out of the way of a vessel not under command, and a vessel restricted in her ability to maneuver. A seaplane on the water shall, in general, keep well clear of all vessels and avoid impeding their navigation. In circumstances, however, where risk of collision exists, she shall comply with the rules of this part.
Rule 19. Conduct of vessels in restricted visibility. This rule applies to vessels not in sight of one another when navigating in or near an area of restricted visibility. Every vessel shall proceed at a safe speed adapted to the prevailing circumstances and conditions of restricted visibility. A power-driven vessel shall have her engines ready for immediate maneuver.
Navigation rules apply to all recreational vessels operating on U.S. waterways. Don't miss Part 2 of Animated Nav Rules. To download a copy of the Amalgamated International and U.S. Inland Navigation Rules at no charge, visit navcen.uscg.gov/navigation-rules-amalgamated.